When they were going to fire the cook, the millionaire's daughter revealed the real culprit. Mary Ellen Johnson felt her legs tremble as Richard Thompson, the businessman who owned the mansion, shouted accusations that seemed to pierce her soul. After 20 years dedicated to that family, taking care of the house with care and love, she was being accused of stealing the most valuable jewels of her employer. It was then that a child's voice cut through the tense air of the luxurious living room. Emily, the couple's 11-year-old daughter, raised her small but determined finger and shouted with all the strength in her lungs that the real culprit was her own mother, Jennifer. "Daddy, stop yelling at Mary Ellen," said the girl, her blue eyes shining with outrage. "I saw who took Mommy's jewels." The silence that settled in the room was so thick it seemed possible to cut it with a knife. Richard Thompson stopped mid-sentence, still with his finger pointed at Mary Ellen, who was wiping away tears with the red apron she had worn every day for 2 decades. "Emily, what are you talking about?" asked Jennifer, her voice coming out sharper than usual. "I saw you taking your own jewels, Mommy. I saw you putting them in a little bag and sneaking out of the house," continued the girl, now with tears in her eyes. "And I know where you go when you say you're visiting Grandma." Mary Ellen watched the scene without being able to fully process what was happening. All morning she had been interrogated, humiliated, and accused. Jennifer had discovered that her most expensive jewels had disappeared from the bedroom safe and immediately pointed the finger at the employee. "Emily, stop this lie right now." Jennifer tried to approach her daughter, but the girl took a step back. "It's not a lie, Mommy. I even have a picture." Emily pulled a small cell phone from the pocket of her yellow dress. "Look here, Daddy." Richard Thompson took the device with trembling hands. On the screen, several photos showed Jennifer entering and leaving establishments he recognized immediately. Gambling houses, bingo halls, places his wife swore she had never set foot in. "Jennifer," the businessman's voice came out in a whisper. "Richard, I can explain." She tried to approach her husband, but he instinctively moved away. "Mommy told Mary Ellen that if she told anyone about the secret outings, she would blame Mary Ellen for stealing the jewels," revealed Emily, now crying openly. "But Mary Ellen never did anything wrong. Mary Ellen is good. She's taken care of me since I was a baby." Mary Ellen finally found the strength to speak, her voice choked with emotion. "Mr. Thompson, I swear by my mother in heaven that I never took anything that wasn't mine in this house. Never in my life would I do such a thing." "I know, Mary Ellen," said Emily, running to hug the cook. "I always knew you would never harm us." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. Richard Thompson looked at the photos on his daughter's phone as if he were seeing ghosts. Each image was a stab at his trust, his family, everything he thought he knew about the woman he had lived with for 15 years. "How long have you been taking these photos, Emily?" he asked, trying to stay calm. "For about 3 months, Daddy. I started to get suspicious when Mommy always had excuses not to pick me up from school. There was always something to do at Grandma's, at the doctor's, at the hair salon." The girl wiped her nose on her dress. "Then one day I asked the driver to take me to Grandma's house to surprise her. But when we got there, Grandma said she hadn't seen Mommy in weeks." Jennifer had turned completely pale. Her hands trembled as she tried to find words that could explain the inexplicable. "Richard, I can explain all of this. You don't understand the pressure I feel, the loneliness." "Loneliness?" he shouted, finally losing his composure. "We have a perfect life. You have everything a woman could want." "Daddy, don't shout," pleaded Emily, still hugging Mary Ellen. "It's bad for Mary Ellen. She has a heart condition." That's when Richard Thompson's phone rang. He looked at the screen and saw it was his private banker. "Hello, Brian." "Richard, sorry to bother you on Sunday, but I need to speak urgently about your wife's account. There have been very strange transactions in recent months." "What kind of transactions?" "Large withdrawals, always in cash. Over $200,000 in the last 4 months. I thought you knew, but since the amounts were increasing..." Richard Thompson hung up the phone and looked at Jennifer with an expression that mixed disbelief, anger, and deep sadness. $200,000, Jennifer, in 4 months. I was going to replace it all." It was just a bad streak. I was winning at first. Winning? Mary Ellen spoke for the first time since the accusations began to be clarified. Mrs. Jennifer, are you saying you spent the family's money on gambling? It's none of your business, Mary Ellen. Jennifer turned aggressively toward the cook. Of course it's her business. Emily stepped in front of Mary Ellen. You were going to get Mary Ellen fired because of your lies. You were going to destroy her life. Richard Thompson sat down heavily in one of the living room armchairs. His head was spinning, trying to process the magnitude of what he was discovering about his family. Why, Jennifer? Why did you do this? And why did you try to blame Mary Ellen? Because she saw, Jennifer admitted, finally breaking down. Mary Ellen saw me coming back in the early morning 2 months ago. I had lost a lot of money that night and was desperate. She was in the kitchen preparing her breakfast, as she always does, and saw me coming in through the back door. Mary Ellen shook her head slowly. I asked if you were okay because you were crying. You said you had gone to a friend's house who was having marriage problems. I believed you and never told anyone. But I got scared that you would find out the truth. Tell Richard. Jennifer wiped her nose with the back of her hands. When I realized the jewelry was missing, that I had sold it myself in desperation last week, I thought. You thought about destroying an innocent person's life to save your own, completed Richard Thompson, his voice filled with disappointment. Daddy, can Mary Ellen stay? Please? Emily clung to her father's arm. She did nothing wrong. She always took care of me, always did her best for our family. Richard Thompson looked at Mary Ellen, who remained standing with tears streaming down her face. Mary Ellen, forgive me. Forgive me for believing, for doubting you after all this time. Mr. Thompson, you were protecting your family, I understand. No, you don't understand, and you shouldn't have to understand. I offended you, humiliated you, accused you of something terrible without even investigating properly. He stood up and walked over to her. You've been part of this family for 20 years. You've taken care of Emily since she was born, taken care of the house, taken care of us, and I almost allowed an injustice to be committed against you. What's going to happen now? Asked Emily, looking between her parents. It was a question that hung in the air like a heavy cloud. Jennifer was sitting on the living room floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Richard Thompson was pacing back and forth, his hands running through his hair repeatedly. Mary Ellen remained still processing her near dismissal and the discovery of her employer's addiction. Mommy, are you going to stop gambling? Asked Emily, cautiously approaching Jennifer. I can't, honey. I tried to stop, but I always go back. I always think I'm going to recover what I lost. You need professional help, said Richard Thompson, stopping his pacing. You need to check into a facility. Richard, please don't commit me. I can stop on my own. I promise I'll stop. Mrs. Jennifer, Mary Ellen spoke timidly, with all due respect, but you won't be able to stop on your own. My sister went through the same thing with drinking. She needed medical help. You don't understand, Mary Ellen. You never understood the pressure of living this life. Jennifer stood up abruptly. You all think it's easy being the perfect wife, the perfect mother, always looking beautiful, always elegant, always smiling for Richard's friends. Nobody asked you to be perfect, said Richard Thompson. I never asked that of you. You didn't need to ask. It was obvious. All the wives of your business friends are beautiful, elegant, always put together. I needed to measure up. And that's why you started gambling? I started gambling because I felt invisible, because you spent 16 hours a day working and when you came home you barely spoke to me, because the only person who paid attention to me in this house was Mary Ellen when she asked how my day was. The silence that followed was profound. Emily looked between her parents with an expression of someone trying to understand things far beyond her years. Mary Ellen lowered her head, feeling uncomfortable for witnessing this intimate family conversation. Perhaps I should excuse myself, whispered Mary Ellen. No, said Emily firmly. Mary Ellen stays. She's part of the family too. The girl is right, agreed Richard Thompson. Mary Ellen, you've already heard too much today, and honestly, you're the only person in this house I completely trust right now. Thank you very much, Mr. Richard. Jennifer, regardless of our marital problems, you can't destroy an innocent person's life. What you were going to do to Mary Ellen was too cruel. I know, Jennifer sobbed. I know it was wrong, but I was desperate. When you discovered the money missing, when you saw the jewelry, I didn't know what to do. You could have told me the truth from the beginning. And you would have understood. You would have forgiven me." Richard Thompson took a long time to respond, and when he did, his voice was tired. "I don't know, Jennifer, but it certainly would have been better than this." The house phone rang, cutting through the tension of the moment. Mary Ellen offered to answer, but Richard Thompson gestured for her not to leave the room. "Hello? Richard, it's Amanda from First National Bank. Sorry to bother you again, but I just received a call from Prestige Jewelers. They said your wife sold some valuable pieces there last week. They wanted to confirm if everything was all right, because the amount was considerable." "How much?" $150,000 in jewelry. She said you needed money for a renovation at the beach house." Richard Thompson hung up the phone and looked at Jennifer with an unreadable expression. "Beach house? What beach house, Jennifer?" I didn't know what to tell them. You need some justification when you sell expensive jewelry. So now it's $350,000, $200 from withdrawals and $150 in jewelry. "Maybe a little more," she admitted quietly. "How much more?" I also borrowed from Christine." "Christine, my business partner. 50,000. I told her it was for a birthday present for you." Richard Thompson sat down again, this time covering his face with his hands. $400,000, Jennifer. You spent $400,000 of our family's money on gambling. I can explain every penny. I can show you how I kept losing, how I tried to win it back. I don't want to know." He raised his head. "I don't want to hear about how you destroyed our financial security by betting our future." "Daddy, what does this mean?" asked Emily. "It means, my dear, that our lives will have to change drastically." Mary Ellen shifted uncomfortably. "Mr. Thompson, if you prefer, I can reduce my salary, or work fewer days a week." "Mary Ellen, for God's sake, you're the only thing working properly in this house. Your salary is sacred." "But if you're having money problems, we'll resolve this another way." He stared intently at Jennifer. "The company is fine, thank God, but it will take time to recover that money." "And Mommy?" asked Emily. "Your mother will get treatment. She'll stop gambling and go to therapy." "And if she doesn't want to? Then she'll have to choose between getting treatment or leaving this house." Jennifer abruptly lifted her head. "Are you giving me an ultimatum? I'm giving you one last chance, a chance you didn't give to Mary Ellen." "Richard, I love you. I love our daughter." "If you loved us, you wouldn't have dragged an innocent person into your lie." Mary Ellen continued to feel uncomfortable. She had spent the entire morning being accused of theft and was now witnessing the possible end of her employer's marriage. "Maybe it's better if I go to the kitchen to prepare lunch," she said timidly. "Mary Ellen, wait," called Emily. "Can you stay with me today? I don't want to be alone listening to Mom and Dad fighting." "Of course, my princess. Shall we bake a cake together?" "Sure." As Mary Ellen and Emily headed to the kitchen, Richard Thompson and Jennifer were left alone in the living room. The silence between them was heavy, laden with unspoken recriminations and a trust that might never be fully restored. "Richard," Jennifer began. "No, Jennifer, not now. I need time to process all this. I need to think about what's best for Emily, for our family." "And Mary Ellen? What will you do about what happened to her today?" "I'll apologize 1,000 times if necessary. I'll increase her salary. I'll do whatever it takes to make up for the humiliation she went through because of us." "Because of us?" "Because of you, Jennifer. Because of you and your lies." In the kitchen, Mary Ellen was helping Emily crack eggs into the bowl, but her mind was far from the cake recipe. In 20 years of working in that house, she had never had a day as difficult as that one. "Mary Ellen, are you sad?" asked Emily, noticing the cook was unusually quiet. "A little, my princess. It was a very difficult day. Are you going to leave our house?" "Why would I leave?" "Because my parents are going to separate. When my friend Sophie's parents separated, the nanny left because there wasn't enough work for 2 houses." Mary Ellen stopped stirring the batter and crouched down to the girl's level. "Emily, even if your parents separate, which I hope doesn't happen, you'll still need someone to take care of you, and I will never abandon you. Never." "Promise?" I promise. You're like a daughter to me, you know that? I love you like you're my grandma too, my grandma of the heart. Mary Ellen hugged the girl, feeling tears well up in her eyes again. After a whole day of being unjustly accused, hearing those words was like a balm to her wounded soul. Emily, can I ask you a question? Of course. Why did you take those photos of your mother? It wasn't just curiosity, was it? The girl stopped stirring the batter and stared at the bowl for a long moment. Because I knew something was wrong. Mommy was different. She yelled more, cried in secret, got nervous over anything. And when I asked where she had been, she always made up different stories. And you didn't talk to your father about it? I tried once, but Dad said Mommy was just going through a tough phase and that I shouldn't worry. He said adults sometimes get sad for no apparent reason. Mary Ellen shook her head. She herself had noticed the changes in Jennifer's behavior over the past few months. The lady of the house was always restless, talked to herself, constantly checked her phone. But she never imagined it could be something related to gambling. Mary Ellen, do you think my parents will get divorced? I don't know, my princess, but I know they love you very much and will do what's best for you. Even if they get divorced, will you still be my Mary Ellen? Forever, my dear. Forever. Meanwhile, in the living room, Richard Thompson was on the phone with his personal attorney, explaining the situation and asking for advice on how to proceed. Jennifer remained seated on the couch, staring into space, still trying to accept that her lie had been discovered in the worst possible way. Dr. Williams, I need to know what my legal options are, Richard Thompson said on the phone, regarding the money lost in gambling or the attempt to frame the employee. Everything. My wife almost destroyed an innocent person's life to hide her own addiction. Technically, she didn't actually file a formal accusation. There was no police report, right? No, but if my daughter hadn't intervened, Mary Ellen would have been unfairly fired, maybe even sued. I understand. As for the gambling addiction, there are specific treatments. I can recommend some specialized clinics. And about the money, if she checks herself in voluntarily and starts treatment, you can try to salvage part of the relationship. As for the money, depending on where it was spent, it might be possible to recover something through lawsuits against illegal gambling houses. It wasn't in illegal houses, it was licensed bingos, regulated betting establishments. Then it becomes more difficult. But the important thing now is to focus on her treatment and the child's stability. After hanging up, Richard Thompson turned his attention to Jennifer. Did you get anything useful? She asked. I got the names of 3 clinics specializing in gambling addiction. You will choose one and check yourself in this week. And if I don't want to? Then you choose to leave this house this week and explain to Emily why you're abandoning her too. This is emotional blackmail. This is reality, Jennifer. You made choices that harmed our family and almost destroyed an innocent person's life. Now you need to face the consequences. Jennifer remained silent for a few minutes, absorbing the gravity of the situation. And if I get treatment, if I stop gambling, will you forgive me? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I'll be able to forgive completely, but I'm willing to try for Emily's sake. Only because of her. Mostly because of her, but also because I believe the person I married still exists somewhere inside you. She does. She just got lost in all the pressure, all the loneliness. Jennifer, stop playing the victim. You had choices and you chose the wrong path. You could have talked to me, you could have sought psychological help, you could have done 1,000 different things. But you chose to gamble and lie. You're right, she finally admitted. I made wrong choices, and I almost destroyed Mary Ellen's life because of my choices. Almost? You humiliated her all morning, Jennifer. She cried, trembled with fear, thought she was going to lose her job after 20 years of dedication to our family. I will apologize to her. You will do more than that. You will explain to her exactly why you tried to blame her. You will look her in the eye and take full responsibility for what you did. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out, now continuing. In the kitchen, Mary Ellen and Emily had finished preparing the cake, and were now sitting at the small table where the cook always had her meals. The girl was idly playing with the sugar she had spilled on the table. "Mary Ellen, can I tell you a secret?" "Of course, my princess." "I heard Mommy talking on the phone a few times. She was talking about money, about getting back what she lost. I didn't really understand, but I knew it was something she didn't want Daddy to know." "And you never told him?" "I tried, but you know how Daddy is. He's always busy, always on the phone or working in his office. When I did get to talk to him, he said I was imagining things." Mary Ellen sighed. She knew the dynamics of that family well. Richard Thompson was a good man, but completely absorbed in his work. Jennifer, on the other hand, always seemed like a fragile woman, dependent on constant validation. "Emily, you were very brave today. Was it very hard for you to speak up against your mother?" "It was." The girl wiped away a tear that threatened to fall. "But I couldn't let you be treated unfairly. You've always been good to me, always protected me, always took care of me when I was sick or sad. You protected me today, and I will never forget that. Mary Ellen, can you sleep in my room tonight? I don't want to be alone. If your parents allow it, of course. They will. They know you're the only person I completely trust." Mary Ellen stood up to check the cake in the oven when she heard footsteps in the kitchen. It was Jennifer, with red eyes and an expression that mixed regret and shame. "Mary Ellen, can I talk to you?" "Of course, Mrs. Jennifer." "Emily, can you give us a few minutes?" "I want to stay," said the girl, crossing her arms. "Emily, please." "No, you've already lied too much. I want to hear everything you're going to say to Mary Ellen." Jennifer looked at her daughter and then at Mary Ellen, clearly uncomfortable, but she nodded her head. "All right. Mary Ellen, I need to apologize to you, not just for today, but for everything I plan to do against you." "Mrs. Jennifer, no, let me speak. I tried to blame you for something I did myself. I tried to destroy your reputation, your career, your life, to hide my own irresponsibility, and that is unforgivable." Mary Ellen remained silent, watching her employer carefully. "I have a problem with gambling, an addiction that is destroying my family and almost destroyed you too. When I realized I had sold my own jewelry in a moment of desperation, I panicked, and instead of taking responsibility, I thought of putting the blame on you." "Why me, Mrs. Jennifer?" "Because you saw me coming back in the early hours that day, because you were kind to me, asked me if I was okay, offered to make me tea. And I thought if you were being kind, it was because you suspected something. But I didn't suspect anything. I was just being human. I know that now. But in my confused mind, in my paranoia, you had become a threat. And I thought if I accused you first, no one would believe your word against mine." Emily held Mary Ellen's hand throughout the conversation, as if wanting to convey strength and support to the cook. "Mary Ellen, you have every right to hate me. You have every right to never forgive me. But I need you to know that what I did is inexcusable. It was cruel. It was cowardly. It was almost destroying an innocent person to save my own skin." "Mrs. Jennifer, I don't hate you. I'm hurt. I'm disappointed, but I don't hate you." "How can you not hate me after what I tried to do?" "Because I see that you are suffering. I see that you need help. And because Emily needs her mother, even if you have made serious mistakes." Jennifer started crying again, this time tears of genuine shame. "I don't deserve your understanding." "Maybe you don't. But I choose to try to understand anyway." "Mary," Emily intervened, "you're too good. Mom almost got you fired." "I know, my princess, but sometimes people do terrible things when they're desperate. That doesn't mean we should do terrible things back." Richard Thompson appeared in the kitchen doorway at that moment. "Sorry to interrupt, but I need to speak with both of you." He looked at Mary and Jennifer. "Daddy, Mom was apologizing to Mary," said Emily. "That's good. Mary, I also want to publicly apologize to you. This morning, I behaved in an unacceptable way toward you. I accused you without evidence, doubted your honesty, treated you as if you were a criminal. Mr. Richard, you were protecting your family." "No, Mary, don't try to justify my behavior. I was wrong. Completely wrong. And I want you to know that this will never happen again. Thank you, Mr. Richard. Furthermore, I want to compensate you in some way for what you went through today. I'm doubling your salary starting this month. You don't need to, Mr. Richard. You don't need to do that. Yes, I do. It's the least I can do after having doubted you. And what about Mrs. Jennifer? Asked Mary. Jennifer is going to check into a clinic to treat her addiction. And when she returns, if she returns, she'll have to earn back all of our trust. I will check in, confirmed Jennifer, and I will do everything necessary to get treatment and become a better person. How long will Mom be away? Asked Emily. I don't know yet, my dear. It depends on the treatment. And while she's away, who will take care of me? Mary and I, as we've always done, really. Mary felt emotionally exhausted. In a few hours, she had gone from being accused of theft to confirmation that she was considered part of the family. It was a lot of information to process. If you'll allow me, I'll finish preparing lunch, she said, trying to return to the familiar routine. Mary, you're not working today, said Richard Thompson. You've already been through too much stress. Let's order food from a restaurant. But the cake. We'll have the cake at coffee time. You and Emily made it together, right? So it will be special. Daddy, can I sleep in Mary's room tonight? Asked Emily. Of course, if Mary doesn't mind. It would be a pleasure to have the princess's company, smiled Mary, for the first time since the start of that terrible day. Jennifer, let's talk in our room, said Richard Thompson. We need to decide some practical things about the treatment. After the parents left the kitchen, Emily approached Mary. Are you okay? I'm better now, my princess. Mary, can I tell you something I didn't say in front of my parents? Of course. I knew you would never harm us, I've always known, but this morning when Daddy was shouting, I got really scared. Scared of what? Scared that you would leave forever. Scared of being alone in this house with Daddy always working and Mom always on edge. Mary knelt down and hugged the girl. Emily, I promise you that, as long as you need me, I will be here, no matter what happens. Even if my parents get divorced? Even then? Even if they sell this house? Even then, I'll go wherever you go. Promise. I promise. Emily hugged Mary tightly, and the cook realized that despite all the day's suffering, perhaps something good had come out of that terrible situation. The truth had come to light, and she had discovered how much she was loved and valued by that girl she had helped raise. 2 hours later, when the restaurant food arrived, the family gathered in the dining room. The atmosphere was tense, but there was a feeling that the worst was over. Mary, come have dinner with us, called Emily. My princess, I always eat in the kitchen. Not today. Today you eat here, insisted the girl. Emily is right, agreed Richard Thompson. Tonight Mary Ellen is having dinner with the family. Mary Ellen sat timidly at the table, still feeling somewhat out of place. Jennifer ate in silence, clearly lost in her own thoughts. Daddy, when Mummy comes back from the clinic, will things be different? Asked Emily. I hope so, my dear. I hope your mother comes back healthier and that we can rebuild our family more honestly. What about the money? Will we be poor? Richard Thompson smiled sadly. We won't be poor, Emily, but we'll have to make some changes. Maybe travel less, spend less on unnecessary things. Unnecessary? Things we don't really need. Expensive clothes, dinners at very fancy restaurants, extravagant gifts. But will Mary Ellen still work here? Of course she will. And can I stay at the same school? Yes, you can. Then it's okay, the rest isn't important. Mary Ellen smiled at the girl's maturity. At 11 years old, Emily was showing more wisdom than many adults. Mrs. Jennifer, said Mary Ellen timidly, may I ask you something? Of course, Mary Ellen. Do you need anything to take to the clinic? I can help pack your bag. Jennifer looked at Mary Ellen in surprise. You would do that? After everything I did today? I would. You need to take care of yourself to get better. And when you're better, Emily will need her mother. Mary Ellen, how can you be so generous? I'm not generous, Mrs. Jennifer. I just believe that people can change if they truly want to. I want to change. I really want to change. Then you will. After dinner, Richard Thompson went to his office to make some calls related to rehabilitation clinics. Jennifer went to her room to pack her bags. Mary Ellen and Emily were left alone in the living room. "Mary Ellen, can I ask you an adult question?" "Of course, my princess." "Do you think my parents will stay together?" Mary Ellen thought carefully before answering. "I think they will try. But sometimes, when people hurt each other deeply, it's hard to trust again. And if they separate, is it my fault for telling the truth? No, my dear. Never, never your fault. You did the right thing. The truth always needs to be told, even when it's hard. But if I hadn't spoken, maybe they would still be together. And you would still be suffering knowing your mother was lying. And I would still be unfairly accused. Sometimes the truth hurts at first, but in the end it's always better. Mary Ellen, you're the wisest person I know." "I'm not wise, my princess. I've just lived many years and learned a few things along the way. I want to be like you when I grow up. You're already better than me. You had the courage to speak the truth even when it was difficult. That's a very rare quality. I learned from you. You always taught me that it's better to speak the truth, even when it hurts." Mary Ellen hugged the girl, feeling a mix of pride and sadness. Pride for having helped shape a person of integrity, and sadness for realizing that Emily had been forced to mature too quickly due to her parents' problems. "Come on, let's check on the cake," said Mary Ellen, trying to lighten the mood. In the kitchen, they took the cake out of the oven, and Mary Ellen taught Emily how to make a simple chocolate frosting. It was a moment of normality in the middle of a day that had been anything but normal. "Mary Ellen, even if everything changes, will you keep teaching me how to cook?" "Of course I will, and you're getting very good at it. One day, can I work in your kitchen?" "My kitchen?" "When you retire from this house, you'll have your own kitchen, won't you? Your own restaurant or something like that." Mary Ellen laughed softly. "My princess, I've never thought about that. I always thought I'd work here until I was too old to cook. But you should have your own business. You cook better than any restaurant we've ever been to." "That's kind of you to say." "It's not kindness, it's the truth. And when you have your restaurant, I want to work with you. What about your studies? Don't you want to be a doctor like you've always dreamed? I can be a doctor and also cook, or I can have a restaurant and you can be my partner." Mary Ellen smiled, imagining a future where she and Emily worked together. It was a beautiful thought, even if unlikely. "You know what, my princess? Let's make a deal." "What kind of deal?" "If one day, when you're an adult, you still want to have a restaurant with me, we'll talk about it." "Promise?" "I promise." "And you promise you won't retire before I grow up?" "I promise I'll take care of you as long as you need me." "That's good, because I'll need you forever." Mary Ellen felt her heart warm with those words. After a day when she almost lost everything, she was discovering she had gained the certainty that she was truly loved and valued. That night, Mary Ellen settled into the guest room next to Emily's. The girl had insisted she stay close, and Richard Thompson had readily agreed. "Mary Ellen," Emily called from her bed. "Yes, my princess. Thank you for taking care of me all these years. Thank you for letting me take care of you." "Mary Ellen?" "Yes? Do you think I'll ever understand why adults lie so much?" Mary Ellen thought about the question for a long time. "I think adults lie when they're afraid, my dear. Afraid of disappointing, afraid of being judged, afraid of losing people they love. It's not right to lie, but sometimes people make wrong choices when they're scared." "And you, have you ever lied to me?" "I've told small lies, like when you asked if Mom and Dad were fighting and I said no, even though I knew they were. I lied to protect you." "That's different." "Is it? Why?" "Because you lied to protect me, not to protect yourself. That's different." "You're a very smart girl, Emily. I learned from you." "Good night, my princess." "Good night, Mary Ellen. I love you." "I love you too, my dear." As Emily fell asleep, Mary Ellen lay awake thinking about the day's events. In just a few hours, her life had changed drastically. She had been accused, humiliated, almost fired, and then discovered she was considered part of the family. But more than that, she had witnessed a family falling apart and rebuilding itself at the same time. She had seen an 11-year-old child have to choose between protecting her mother and protecting an innocent person. And she had seen that same child choose to do what was right, even though it was hard. Mary Ellen thought about her own life. 20 years dedicated to that family. 20 years caring for a child as if she were her own daughter. 20 years serving people who, she now realized, valued her more than she had imagined. She also thought about Jennifer, a lost woman, addicted, who had nearly destroyed an innocent life to hide her own failures, but also a woman who was asking for help, who wanted to get treatment, who recognized her mistakes. And she thought about Richard Thompson, a good man but distant, a father who loved his daughter but was always too busy to truly see her, a husband who had failed to notice his wife was in crisis. But above all, Mary Ellen thought about Emily, a brave, honest girl who had learned from a young age the difference between right and wrong, a girl who loved her unconditionally and whom she loved just the same. Mary Ellen fell asleep that night, knowing that regardless of what the future held for that family, she had found her purpose in life, to care for Emily and help her become a strong and honest woman. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. The next day, Mary Ellen woke up to the sound of movement in the house. It was 5:30 in the morning, her usual wake-up time, but normally the house was quiet at that hour. She got up and went to the window, seeing Richard Thompson loading suitcases into the car. Jennifer was being admitted today. Mary Ellen quickly dressed and went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. She found Richard sitting at the kitchen table, with a cup of coffee in his hands and a tired expression on his face. "Good morning, Mr. Thompson. Did you sleep well?" "Hi, Mary Ellen. I hardly slept at all, to be honest. Can I make something special for breakfast?" "No need, Mary Ellen. Jennifer won't want to eat much, and I'm not hungry." "And Emily?" "She's still sleeping. I thought it best to let her rest. Yesterday was a very heavy day for her." Mary Ellen automatically started preparing breakfast, even though Richard had said it wasn't necessary. It was her way of dealing with difficult situations, maintaining routine, taking care of people. "Mr. Thompson, may I ask a question?" "Of course, Mary Ellen." "Do you think you did the right thing, forcing Mrs. Jennifer to be admitted?" Richard sighed deeply before answering. "Honestly, I don't know. But I know I can't let her continue destroying our family. And after what she tried to do to you yesterday." "Do you think she would have really fired me?" "I think so. I think she was willing to go all the way with the lie." Mary Ellen remained silent for a few moments, processing this information. "That scares me, Mr. Thompson, to think that someone I've known for so many years would be capable of destroying my life to save their own. It scares me too, Mary Ellen. It makes me question if I really knew my wife. People do terrible things when they're desperate." "Are you defending her again?" "I'm not defending her. I'm just trying to understand." "Mary Ellen, may I ask you a personal question?" "Of course. Have you ever been married?" "Yes, a long time ago." "What happened?" Mary Ellen stopped stirring the eggs in the pan and looked at Richard. "My husband was a good man, but he started drinking. At first it was just a few beers after work. Then it became hard liquor. Then he lost his job, started selling our things to buy alcohol. And what did you do?" "I tried to help. I talked, begged, cried, did everything. But he didn't want help. He said he could stop on his own, that it was just a bad phase." "How did it end?" "He hit me one night when I hid the money left from my salary. It was the first and last time. The next day I took my things and left home." "And you never saw him again?" "I saw him once a few years later. He was even worse. Skinny, dirty, begging on the street. I offered help again, but he refused. He passed away 2 years later." Richard fell silent, clearly reflecting on the similarities between Mary Ellen's situation and his own. "Do you regret leaving him?" "No. I regretted taking so long to leave. I spent years trying to save someone who didn't want to be saved." "And do you think Jennifer wants to be saved?" "I think she's scared. Yesterday she showed genuine remorse, but only time will tell if it's real remorse or just fear of the consequences." "Mary Ellen, can I ask you a favor?" "Of course." If Jennifer returns from the clinic, if she really gets treatment and changes, can you completely forgive her? I've already forgiven her, Mr. Thompson. What do you mean? I forgave because staying angry only hurts myself. It doesn't mean I trust her like before, or that I forgot what happened, but I won't carry this anger in my heart. You're a better person than I am, Mary Ellen. I'm not better than anyone. I only learned that life is too short to spend energy hating people. At that moment, Emily appeared in the kitchen in her pajamas, with messy hair and sleepy eyes. "Good morning," she said, stretching. "Good morning, my princess." Mary Ellen opened her arms for the girl, who came running for a hug. "Daddy, are you taking Mommy today?" "Yes, my daughter." "Right after breakfast. Can I come along?" "No, Emily. The clinic has rules about visits. You'll only be able to see your mother after a few weeks." "A few weeks? That long?" "It's part of the treatment, my dear," explained Mary Ellen. "Your mother needs to focus on getting better. What if she can't get better?" "She will," said Richard Thompson with more conviction than he felt. "Your mother is a strong person. She just lost her way for a while." Emily sat at the table and Mary Ellen served breakfast. The mood was heavy, but there was a sense that the family was trying to reorganize as best they could. "Mary Ellen, can you teach me how to make pancakes today?" asked Emily. "Yes, I can. How about we make a special lunch too, just the two of us? Won't Daddy be home for lunch?" "I'll be working late today," replied Richard Thompson. "I have to sort out some things about the money that disappeared." "Can you get the money back, Daddy?" "Some of it, maybe. But don't worry about that. It's an adult problem. I can help. I can sell some toys I don't use anymore." Richard Thompson smiled for the first time since the day before. "Thank you for offering, my daughter, but your toys can stay with you." After breakfast, Richard Thompson got ready to take Jennifer. The farewell was brief and emotionally charged. Jennifer hugged Emily for a long time, apologizing once again and promising to come back better. "Take good care of Mary Ellen," she whispered in her daughter's ear. "Actually, she's the one who takes good care of me," replied Emily. After her parents left, Mary Ellen and Emily were alone in the house for the first time in many years. Normally, when Jennifer went out, it was for a few hours. Now there was no estimated return date. "Mary Ellen, it's strange for the house to be so quiet, isn't it?" "Yes, it is, my princess, but we'll get used to it." "Do you think it will be better this way? Just the two of us and Daddy?" "I think it will be different. Whether it will be better or worse, only time will tell. Can I tell you something I've never told anyone?" "Of course." "Sometimes I pretended to be sick just to stay home with you. On days I knew Mommy was going out and Daddy was working, I lied about having a stomachache so I wouldn't have to go to school." Mary Ellen looked at the girl in surprise. "Why did you do that?" "Because here with you I felt safe. At school, the other kids sometimes said bad things about rich families, about how we're spoiled. But here with you, it was different. You treated me like a normal child. You are a normal child, Emily. The fact that your father has money doesn't change that. But sometimes I felt guilty for having so many things when other children had nothing. It's good that you think about that. It shows you have a generous heart." "Mary Ellen, can I suggest something to Daddy?" "What do you want to suggest?" "That we donate some things we don't use to families in need. Old clothes, toys, books." "I think that's a very good idea. I'm sure your father will like the suggestion. Will you help me sort things out?" "Of course I will." Mary Ellen and Emily spent the morning organizing clothes and toys for donation. It was an activity that kept them busy and at the same time allowed for deep conversations about values and generosity. "Mary Ellen, did you donate anything when you were a child?" "My family didn't have much to donate. In fact, sometimes we were the ones receiving donations." "What was that like?" "Humiliating at times, but it was also a relief when we were really in need." "Do you remember who used to donate?" "I remember Mrs. Eunice, a wealthy lady from town. She always donated clothes and shoes at the end of the year. I never forgot her kindness." "Is that why you want me to donate too?" "I want you to donate because it's a good thing to do, and because you're in a position to help other people. When I grow up, I want to help many families. I'm sure you'll help many people, my princess." The phone rang, interrupting the conversation. It was Carlos Eduardo. "Rosa, is everything okay there?" "Yes, Mr. Carlos. Beatriz is helping me organize clothes for donation." "What a good idea. Rosa, can I ask you to stay late today? I'm going to be very late." "Of course, it's no problem at all." "And Rosa, thank you for taking care of Beatriz. I know it's not your obligation to stay beyond work hours." "Mr. Carlos, taking care of Beatriz is never work for me. It's a pleasure." After hanging up the phone, Rosa and Beatriz continued organizing the donations. The girl was visibly more excited, as if the altruistic activity was helping her deal with her family situation. "Rosa, can I ask you a question about my mother?" "Go ahead. Do you think she was always a liar, or only became one after she started gambling?" It was a difficult question, requiring a careful answer. "I think your mother has always been an insecure person. She always needed a lot of approval from others, and people like that sometimes lie to seem better than they feel. But she lied about serious things." "That's true. The lies got bigger as the problems grew." "Do you think she might start lying again when she leaves the clinic?" "I hope not, but that will depend on how much she really wants to change." "And if she starts lying again? Then your family will have to make difficult decisions about the future. Like divorce?" "Maybe, but let's hope that won't be necessary." Beatriz fell silent for a few minutes, clearly processing possibilities that a child shouldn't have to consider. "Rosa, if my parents get divorced and I have to choose who to live with, can I choose to live with you?" Rosa stopped folding clothes and looked at the girl. "My dear, legally you would have to live with one of your parents. But if they allowed it, would you take me in? Beatriz, you will always have a home with me no matter what happens. But let's hope you won't have to choose between your parents. It's just that I trust you more than anyone else, and I'm honored by that trust." "Rosa?" "Yes?" "If one day you want to have your own children, will you still have time for me too?" Rosa smiled tenderly. "My princess, you're already my daughter in my heart. I can't have biological children because I'm past that age, but if I could, I'd want them to be just like you." "Really? Really? You're everything a mother could wish for in a daughter. You're smart, brave, honest, generous. I learned all that from you. You learned it because you had a good heart from the start. I just helped develop what was already inside you." The rest of the day passed peacefully, with Rosa and Beatriz cooking together, organizing donations and talking about various subjects. It was almost as if they were really mother and daughter, living a simple and happy life. In the evening, when Carlos Eduardo arrived home, he found Rosa and Beatriz watching a movie in the living room, sharing a bowl of popcorn. "How was your day?" he asked, plopping down on the couch next to them. "It was good, Dad. Rosa helped me sort out lots of things for donation. We have 4 big bags of clothes and toys." "What a wonderful initiative, my daughter." "It was her idea, Mr. Carlos," said Rosa. "Beatriz wants to help families in need." "And how was it with Vanessa?" Rosa asked quietly. "Difficult. She cried a lot during the admission, but I think she understood it's necessary." "How long will she be there?" "The doctor said the minimum program is 6 weeks. It could be more depending on her progress." "And visits?" "Only after the 3rd week, and just once a week. It's going to be hard for Emily." "It will, but it's better than dealing with lies and instability." Emily had fallen asleep on the couch during the conversation. Mary Ellen covered her with a blanket and then turned to Richard Thompson. "Mr. Thompson, may I suggest something?" "Of course. How about you take a few days off? Spend more time with Emily. She needs her father's attention." "You're right. I need to reorganize my priorities. Emily is a very mature girl for her age, but she's still a child. She still needs to feel safe and loved." "Mary Ellen, can I ask you a personal question?" "Go ahead." "Do you regret not having children of your own?" Mary Ellen looked at Emily sleeping and smiled. "No, because I had you." She paused. "I mean, I had Emily, and taking care of her all these years has been like having a daughter." "Mary Ellen, would you like to officially adopt Emily?" The question took Mary Ellen completely by surprise. "What do you mean? If something happens to me, if Jennifer doesn't recover, would you agree to be Emily's legal guardian?" Mr. Thompson, that's a very serious decision. Yes, and that's why I'm offering it to you, because I know you love Emily as much as a biological mother would. And Emily? What does she think of this idea? I haven't talked to her about it yet. I wanted to know what you thought first. Mary Ellen looked again at the sleeping girl and felt a deep emotion taking over her chest. If it's necessary, if it's best for her, yes, I would accept. Thank you, Mary Ellen. That reassures me a lot. But let's hope it's not necessary, that Jennifer recovers and you can be a united family again. Yes, let's hope for that. That night, Mary Ellen took Emily to bed and stayed by her side until she was sure she was sound asleep. Then she went to her own room and lay awake for hours thinking about the conversation with Richard Thompson. The possibility of becoming Emily's legal guardian was both exciting and frightening. Exciting because she loved that girl more than anything in the world. Frightening because it would be a huge responsibility. But Mary Ellen knew that, if necessary, she would do everything to give Emily a happy and stable life. She had already dedicated 20 years of her life to that family. She wouldn't abandon the girl she had helped raise now. Mary Ellen fell asleep that night with a prayer in her heart, that Jennifer would recover completely and that the family could reunite in a healthy way. But if that wasn't possible, she would be ready to be everything Emily needed. During the following weeks, Mary Ellen and Emily developed an even closer routine. Richard Thompson had indeed reduced his work hours and spent more time at home, but it was still Mary Ellen who accompanied the girl in most activities. Mary Ellen, can you teach me how to cook a special dish for when Mommy comes back? Emily asked one Saturday morning. Of course, my princess. What do you want to cook? Mommy's favorite dish. What is it again? Mary Ellen stopped to think. In 20 years in the house, she had cooked hundreds of dishes for Jennifer, but she couldn't remember any that were particularly special to her employer. You know, Emily, your mother never showed she had a specific favorite dish. Really? Everyone has a favorite dish. Not everyone. Your mother was always very concerned with diets and appearance. She rarely ate with pleasure. That's sad. It is a bit sad indeed. Eating should be enjoyable too, not just a necessity. Then let's create a new dish for her. Her dish that will be her new favorite when she comes back. What a beautiful idea, my dear. Mary Ellen and Emily spent the morning experimenting with ingredient combinations, creating a dish that was tasty but also healthy. It was a way for the girl to cope with her mother's absence while planning for a future reunion. Mary Ellen, do you think Mommy is suffering at the clinic? I think she's facing difficult things, but it's necessary for her to get better. Do you think she's truly sorry or just pretending? I don't know, my princess. I hope it's genuine regret. And if it's just pretending, then she'll have to live with the consequences of her choices. Like having lost everyone's trust. Exactly. Trust takes time to build and can be lost in seconds. Is that why you always tell me to always speak the truth? That's why and because lies complicate everything. The truth might hurt at the moment, but in the end, it's always simpler. Like yesterday when I told Daddy I accidentally broke the living room vase. Exactly. You had the courage to tell the truth even knowing he might get angry. And he didn't get angry because I was honest. He was proud of you for being honest. Mary Ellen, do you think I'm a good daughter? I think you're a wonderful daughter. Any parent would be proud to have a daughter like you. Even with parents who have problems. Your parents' problems have nothing to do with you being a good daughter or not. You're a good person regardless of the difficulties your parents are going through. Sometimes I blame myself for their problems. Why? Because if I didn't exist, maybe they wouldn't have so much pressure, so much stress. Mary Ellen stopped cooking and knelt in front of the girl. Emily, listen to me carefully. Your parents' problems have existed for a long time and have nothing to do with you. You're the best thing that ever happened to their lives. Are you sure? I'm absolutely sure. You brought joy, love, and purpose to your parents' lives. Their problems are about themselves, not about you. Thank you, Mary Ellen. I needed to hear that. Whenever you need to hear that again, you can ask me. I'll always remind you how special you are. The phone rang at that moment. It was Richard Thompson calling from the office. "Mary Ellen," the clinic called. "Jennifer wants to talk to me and Emily this afternoon. It's the first allowed call since she checked in." "How should Emily prepare for this conversation?" "I don't know. The doctor said it's important for her to be herself, to speak honestly about how she's feeling." "Emily is fine. She's been thinking a lot about her mother and even created a special dish for when she returns." "That's good. Mary Ellen, can you stay nearby during the call, to support Emily if she needs it?" "Of course, Mr. Thompson. We'll be there around 3 in the afternoon." When Richard Thompson arrived home, Emily was visibly nervous. She had changed clothes 3 times and asked Mary Ellen several times what she should say to her mother. "My princess, just be yourself," advised Mary Ellen. "Tell your mother how you are, what you've been doing, what you're feeling. And if she asks if I've forgiven her, have you forgiven her?" "I think so, but I'm still hurt." "Then say exactly that you've forgiven her, but you're still hurt." "Can I say I miss her?" "Of course you can. It's true, isn't it?" "It's true." The call was emotionally intense. Jennifer cried a lot upon hearing her daughter's voice, apologized several times, and promised she was working hard to get better. Emily was honest about her feelings, saying she missed her mother, but was also well cared for by her father and Mary Ellen. "Mommy, I created a special dish for when you come back," Emily said. "What dish, my dear?" "It's a surprise, but Mary Ellen helped me and it turned out really delicious. I can't wait to try it." "Mom, are you feeling better?" "I'm learning things about myself, Emily, things I didn't know before, and I'm learning to deal with my feelings without needing to gamble. And you won't ever gamble again." "I'll do my best to never gamble again, but it's a process, my daughter. I'll need help forever." Mary Ellen says asking for help is a sign of courage, not weakness. Mary Ellen is right. And is Mary Ellen taking good care of you? "Mary Ellen always takes good care of me, Mom, ever since I was a baby." "I know, and I almost—" Jennifer couldn't finish the sentence, emotional. "Mom, it's okay. Mary Ellen explained to me that you were confused and scared. People do wrong things when they're like that. Do you forgive me, my daughter?" "I already have, Mom, but I need you to really get better." "I will get better. I promise I will get better." After the call, Emily cried a little, but they were tears of relief. She had managed to talk to her mother and express her feelings honestly. "Mary Ellen, I think Mom really wants to get better," she said. "What made you think that?" Her voice was different, more genuine. It didn't have that fakeness it had before when she lied. "I'm glad you noticed that. It shows you're paying attention to the details." "Mary Ellen, if Mom really gets better, do you think our family can be happy again?" "I think you can be happy in a new way. Maybe different from before, but you can be happy." "Different how?" "More honest, with fewer lies, more real conversations." "I would like that. I would like that for you too." In the following weeks, the calls with Jennifer became regular. With each conversation, Emily noticed small changes in her mother. Jennifer seemed calmer, more genuine in her emotions, less anxious. "Mary Ellen, can I tell you something Mom told me today on the call?" "Of course." "She said she talked about you in therapy. She said you're the example of a woman she would like to be." Mary Ellen was surprised by this revelation. "She really said that?" "She did. She said you're honest, hard-working, brave, and generous, and that she wanted to learn to be like that too." "That's very kind of her." "Mary Ellen, do you think people can really change? Like, completely?" "I think people can learn to control their impulses better and make better choices. Changing completely is harder, but improving is always possible." "And do you think Mom is really improving, or just learning to fake it better?" "From what you've been telling me about your conversations, I think she's really trying to improve." "I hope you're right. I hope so too." One day, Richard Thompson came home with important news. "The clinic authorized our first in-person visit. Next Saturday we can see Jennifer." "Are we all going?" asked Emily. "You and me. And Mary Ellen, would you like to come too?" Mary Ellen was surprised by the invitation. "Me? I don't know if it would be appropriate." "Dad, of course Mary Ellen has to come," exclaimed Emily. "Mom needs to apologize to her in person." "Emily is right," agreed Richard Thompson. "Jennifer needs to look at you and take personal responsibility for what she did. If you think it's important, I'll go." "It is important," said Emily. "Mom needs to see that Mary Ellen is okay, that we take good care of her, that she's part of our family." On Saturday morning, the three of them got ready for the visit. Emily was nervous but excited. Richard Thompson was apprehensive. Mary Ellen was uncertain about what it would be like to see Jennifer again. The clinic was a beautiful and peaceful place, surrounded by gardens. Jennifer was waiting for them in a visiting room, accompanied by a psychologist. The first thing Mary Ellen noticed was that Jennifer looked different. Thinner, but also more serene. Her eyes had a clarity that wasn't there before. "Emily!" Jennifer hugged her daughter for a long time, crying with emotion. "Hi, Mum, I missed you." "I missed you too, my dear. More than you can imagine." After greeting Richard Thompson, Jennifer turned to Mary Ellen. "Mary Ellen, thank you for coming." "Hello, Mrs. Jennifer." "Mary Ellen, Jennifer began to cry. "I have no words to express the regret I feel for what I did to you." "Mrs. Jennifer." "No, let me speak. I tried to destroy your life to hide my own mistakes. I tried to blame you for something I did myself. And you didn't deserve any of that. You were desperate. Being desperate doesn't justify trying to destroy an innocent person. It doesn't justify anything I did." The psychologist who was treating Jennifer intervened. "Jennifer has been working hard on taking responsibility for her own actions. Part of the treatment is fully acknowledging the mistakes made without seeking justifications." "Mary Ellen, can you forgive me?" asked Jennifer. "I already have, Mrs. Jennifer. How? How can you forgive me?" "Because holding on to anger would only hurt me, and because I see that you are really trying to improve. You are a much better person than I am." "I'm not better than anyone, I just made different choices. Mary Ellen, when I come back home, if I come back, things will be different between us. I will respect you in a way I never did before." "Thank you, Mrs. Jennifer. And Mary Ellen, thank you for taking care of Emily while I'm here. Thank you for being the mother I couldn't be for her." Mary Ellen was moved by these words, but before she could respond, Emily spoke up. "Mom, Mary Ellen has always been like a second mother to me, and she always will be, even when you come back. I know, my daughter, and I'm grateful for that." The visit lasted 2 hours. Jennifer talked about the treatment, the things she was learning about herself, how she was dealing with the addiction. She seemed genuinely committed to change. "When are you coming back home?" asked Emily. "The doctor said I can come back in 3 weeks if I keep progressing well, but I'll need to continue therapy and attend support groups. And do you want to come back home?" "I really want to come back home, but only if you all want me back." "Of course we do, Mom." Jennifer looked at Richard Thompson. "Richard, do you want me back?" "I want you to recover completely. If you can do that, then yes, I want you to come back." "Thank you. I'll do everything I can to deserve a second chance." On the way home, the mood in the car was lighter. Emily was visibly relieved to have seen her mother doing well. Richard Thompson seemed hopeful. Mary Ellen was reflecting on the change she had observed in Jennifer. "Mary Ellen, what did you think of Mom?" asked Emily. "I thought she seemed different, calmer, more honest." "Do you think she's really changed?" "I think she's genuinely trying to change. Whether she can maintain that change in the long run, only time will tell." "Mr. Richard, do you want Mrs. Jennifer to come back?" "I want my family to be united, Mary Ellen, but only if it's healthy for everyone, including you, and especially for Emily." "Dad, if Mom comes back, can things be like they were before?" "No, my daughter, things can't be like they were before because before wasn't working well, but they can be better than before." "How so?" "With more honesty, more communication, more attention to each other." "And will Mary Ellen still live with us?" "Mary Ellen will always have a place in our home no matter what happens." "That's great." That night, Mary Ellen and Emily talked at length about the visit. "Mary Ellen, were you happy to see Mom?" "I was. She seems to be really trying to improve." "And you're not angry with her anymore?" "I'm not angry. I'm cautious but not angry. What does cautious mean? It means I'll watch to see if her change is lasting before trusting her completely again. That's smart. Emily, and you? How are you feeling after seeing your mother? I'm happy she's doing better, but I'm also a little scared. Scared of what? Scared that when she comes back, she'll go back to lying and doing wrong things. That's an understandable fear, but you don't need to worry about that now. When your mother returns, if she has problems again, your father and I will protect you. Promise. I promise. Mary, if Mommy comes back and our family is together again, will you still be my special Mary? Forever, my princess. Forever. Even if you have to share me. There won't be any sharing needed. Love doesn't shrink when it's shared. It grows. How so? If your mother comes back and is a better mom, you'll have two people who love you very much, her and me. That doesn't mean less love from each, it means more love in total. I see. Like having two pieces of cake instead of one. Mary laughed at the comparison. Exactly like having two pieces of cake. Mary? Yes? Thank you for teaching me that it's always better to tell the truth. Thank you for having the courage to tell the truth when it was hardest. I learned from you. And I learned a lot from you too, my dear. What did you learn from me? I learned that true love is stronger than any difficulty. I learned that children are sometimes wiser than adults. And I learned that taking care of you was the most important work of my life. Mary, you're the most important person in my life. And you're the most important person in my life too. They hugged, sealing once again the special bond that existed between them. A bond that had been tested during those difficult days and had come out stronger than ever. 2 weeks later, Richard Thompson received a call from the clinic. Jennifer had completed treatment and was ready to come home. How do you feel about that? He asked Mary and Emily during dinner. I'm excited, said Emily, but also a little nervous. And you, Mary? I'm optimistic. Mrs. Jennifer seemed really committed to change during our visit. She's coming back tomorrow. I think we should do something special to welcome her. I can make the dish I created for her, suggested Emily. Great idea. And Mary, can you prepare one of your special pies? Of course, Mr. Richard. The next day, Mary and Emily spent the morning cooking and tidying the house. There was a different energy in the air, a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Mary, do you think everything will work out? Asked Emily for the 10th time. Let's hope so, my princess. And if it doesn't, we'll deal with it when it happens. But let's think positively for now. When Jennifer arrived home in the afternoon, she looked like a completely different person. She was thinner, more serene, and her eyes held an honesty that wasn't there before treatment. Our home, she said, looking around. How I missed our home. We missed you too, Mommy, said Emily, running to hug her. Mary, how are you? Asked Jennifer, approaching the cook. I'm well, Mrs. Jennifer. Welcome back. Thank you, and thank you for taking care of my family while I was away. It was a pleasure. Mary, I know it will take time for things to get back to normal between us. I know I need to earn back your trust. Let's take it one day at a time, Mrs. Jennifer. That's all I can ask for. The welcome dinner was emotionally intense. Jennifer cried when she tasted the dish Emily had created especially for her. Richard Thompson was visibly relieved to have his wife back. Mary observed everything carefully, trying to assess whether the change was genuine. This dish is delicious, Emily, said Jennifer. Did you learn to cook? Mary taught me. She said cooking with love makes all the difference in the flavor. Mary has always been wise, Jennifer agreed, looking gratefully at the cook. Mum, can you tell me about how it went at the clinic? It was difficult, my dear, but necessary. I learned many things about myself. I learned that I used gambling to escape problems instead of facing them. And now do you know how to face problems? I'm learning. I'll keep going to therapy and attending support groups. It's a process that will take a long time. Forever. Forever. But it's okay. I'd rather go to therapy forever than go back to gambling and lying. Mary was impressed by Jennifer's honesty. The woman who had returned seemed genuinely committed to change. Mary, can I speak with you alone after dinner? Asked Jennifer. Of course, Jennifer. After dinner, while Richard helped Emily with her homework, Jennifer and Mary sat on the back porch. Mary, I want to establish some things now that I'm back. Yes, ma'am. First, I will never treat you as just an employee again. You are part of this family, and I want you to feel that way. Thank you, Jennifer. Second, I want you to call me by my name, not ma'am. We are two adult women learning to live together respectfully. If that's how you prefer it, Jennifer. Third, if you notice me slipping back into problematic behaviors, I want you to call me out. Don't be afraid to confront me if necessary. Mary was surprised by this request. Are you sure? Absolutely. I need people around me who help me stay focused on recovery, and you are one of the most honest people I know. All right, but I hope it won't be necessary. I hope so too, but if it is, I'm counting on you. Mary, can I ask you a personal question? Go ahead. Have you really forgiven me? Or are you just being polite? Mary thought carefully before answering. I've forgiven what you did, Jennifer, but I'm still watching to see if the change is lasting. It's a cautious forgiveness. That's fair, it's more than I deserve, to be honest. We all deserve a second chance when we're truly trying to change. Mary, do you think I can be a good mother to Emily? I think you can learn to be a better mother than you were before. How? By being more emotionally present, by being more honest, by showing genuine interest in her life. And will you help me be a better mother? If you want my help, of course. I really do. Emily sees you as a model of a strong and honest woman. I want to learn to be like that too. Mary was touched by this confession. Jennifer, can I give you some advice? Please. Don't try to be perfect. Emily doesn't need a perfect mother, she needs a real mother. What does that mean? It means owning up when you make mistakes. It means showing your vulnerabilities. It means being human. It's the opposite of what I've always tried to be. Maybe that's why what you tried before didn't work. Jennifer stayed silent for a few minutes, processing Mary's words. Mary, can you teach me to be a better person? I can support you while you learn to be a better person, but the change has to come from you. Thank you for everything, for taking care of Emily, for forgiving the unforgivable, for being willing to help me now. We're a family, Jennifer. Families help each other. It's the first time someone has called me family without it being by blood or marriage. It's the first time I've truly felt like part of a family too. They sat in silence for a few moments, watching the garden illuminated by the kitchen light. It was a moment of peace after weeks of turmoil. Jennifer, can I tell you something? Of course. When you accused me of theft, I thought my life was over. 20 years of dedication, and suddenly I was being treated like a criminal. Mary Ellen, let me finish. But after the truth came out, I realized something important. What? That I had a real family. Richard Thompson defended me. Emily fought for me, and even you in the end acknowledged your mistakes. A real family is this, people who support each other even in the toughest times. You consider us your family. I do. You are the family I chose, and that chose me too. Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for letting me be part of your family. At that moment, Emily appeared on the porch. What are you talking about? About family, replied Mary Ellen. That's great. Are you fighting? No, my dear, said Jennifer. We're getting to know each other better. Can I sit with you? Of course, said Mary Ellen, making room on the bench. Emily sat between Mary Ellen and Jennifer. Mom, are you really better? I'm trying to get better every day, my daughter. And you won't lie anymore. I'll do everything I can to always tell the truth, even when it's hard. And you won't gamble anymore. No, I won't gamble ever again. Promise? I promise I'll do everything I can not to gamble ever again. But if I feel the urge, I'll ask for help instead of hiding. Mary Ellen was impressed again by Jennifer's honesty. Mary Ellen, now that Mom is back, are you going to keep living here? If you want me to, yes. Of course we do, exclaimed Emily. Mary Ellen, you'll always have a place here, confirmed Jennifer, not just as an employee, but as family. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Mary Ellen, said Emily thoughtfully. "Now that we're officially a family, can you adopt me?" The question took both Mary Ellen and Jennifer by surprise. "Emily, you already have parents who love you," said Mary Ellen. "I know, but I want you to be officially my family too, like my official second mom." Jennifer was moved by her daughter's request. "Emily, would you like Mary Ellen to be officially your second mom?" "I'd love that." "Mary Ellen, what do you think?" Mary Ellen was clearly emotional. "It would be an honor to be officially part of your family." "Then let's arrange that," said Jennifer. "Mary Ellen can be your legal godmother. That way she has official rights over you too." "Really?" asked Emily, excited. "Really?" confirmed Jennifer. "Mary Ellen deserves to have an official status in your life." Mary Ellen cried with emotion. After 20 years of caring for Emily like a daughter, she would finally be officially recognized. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you," replied Jennifer, "for being the mother I couldn't be." "Now we have two moms," celebrated Emily. "And you have two people who would do anything for you," said Mary Ellen. "How lucky I am." Richard Thompson appeared on the porch at that moment. "What are you all talking about so excitedly?" "Mary Ellen is going to become my official godmother," announced Emily. "What a wonderful idea," said Richard Thompson. "Mary Ellen deserves to be officially part of this family." "Are you sure?" asked Mary Ellen. "Absolutely," said Jennifer. "It's the right thing to do." That night, Mary Ellen went to sleep with a full heart. After a day that had started terribly weeks ago, she had discovered she had a true family that loved her unconditionally. But more importantly, Jennifer had genuinely returned committed to change, and they had managed to turn a terrible situation into something beautiful and empowering. In the following months, the family truly rebuilt itself in a healthier way. Jennifer continued therapy and attending support groups. Richard Thompson cut back on his work hours and spent more time with his family. Emily flourished with the attention of two present fathers and Mary Ellen as her official godmother. "Mary Ellen, do you regret anything?" Emily asked one afternoon while they were cooking together. "I regret not realizing sooner that your mother was suffering. Maybe I could have helped before things got so bad. But in the end, everything worked out, didn't it?" "Yes, everything worked out." "Do you think our family is different from other families?" "All families are different, my princess. But I think our family is special because we chose to be a family, not just because we were born into one." "What do you mean?" "Your father and mother could have fired me and never seen me again. I could have left hurt and never come back. But we all chose to fight for this family." "And do you think it will last forever?" "I think as long as we keep choosing each other every day, it will last forever." "I choose you forever, Mary Ellen. And I choose you forever too, my dear." 2 years later, Mary Ellen was in the audience watching Emily receive a school award for an essay on honesty and courage. The essay told the story of a girl who had to choose between protecting her mother and protecting an innocent person, and how that difficult choice ended up saving the whole family. Beside Mary Ellen were Jennifer and Richard Thompson, proud of their daughter and the strong, principled woman she was becoming. "Mary Ellen," whispered Jennifer during the ceremony, "thank you for giving me a second chance. Thank you for taking that second chance. And thank you for raising such a wonderful daughter." "We raised her together," corrected Mary Ellen. "And we're still raising her." "True," smiled Jennifer. When Emily went on stage to receive the award, she looked for Mary Ellen in the audience and waved specifically to her. Mary Ellen waved back, her heart overflowing with pride. After the ceremony, on the way home, Emily said, "Mary Ellen, when I grow up and have children, I want to raise them the way you raised me." "What way is that?" "With lots of love, lots of honesty, and lots of patience. I'm sure you'll be a wonderful mother. Can I bring my children to meet you?" "Of course you can. I'll be their pretend grandma, and they'll love you as much as I love you. I hope so." That night, Mary Ellen lay in bed, thinking about how life can surprise you. She had started that job 20 years ago, just needing employment. But she had gained much more than that. She had gained a daughter, a family, and the certainty that true love overcomes any difficulty. And more importantly, she had helped raise an honest and courageous person who would carry these values into the world. Mary Ellen fell asleep that night, knowing her life had been well lived. She had made a difference in the lives of people important to her, and those people had made a difference in her life too. It was all a person could wish for: love, purpose, and the certainty that she left the world a little better than she found it. Years later, when Emily was already in university, she wrote a letter to Mary Ellen that perfectly summarized what they had all built together. Mary Ellen, thank you for teaching me that family isn't just about blood, it's about choice. Thank you for showing me that honesty is always worth it, even when it's hard. Thank you for saving my family when it was falling apart. And most of all, thank you for loving me unconditionally all these years. You are the mother of my heart, and you always will be. Mary Ellen kept that letter in her heart, along with all the other precious memories of a life dedicated to what truly matters, loving and being loved in return. End of story. Now tell us what you thought of this story and where you are watching us from. Do you believe Mary Ellen made the right decision by forgiving Jennifer? Share your honest opinion in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and especially subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other emotional stories like this one.